As 2025 draws to a close, the United States is rocked by a seismic shock that few saw coming. China has abruptly halted all new Boeing commercial orders, sending ripples of uncertainty through the heart of American industry. The move is not just a business decision. It's a clear signal that the world's two largest economies are entering a new, more dangerous phase of confrontation. In a stunning escalation, China also imposes sweeping sanctions on Boeing's military division, cutting off a vital stream of revenue and further isolating the company from one of its most important international markets. The news sends shockwaves through Wall Street, the White House, and factory floors across America. Investors panic, workers fear for their jobs, and policymakers scramble to respond to a crisis that seems to grow by the hour. Boeing, long celebrated as a symbol of American innovation and strength, suddenly finds itself a pawn in a high-stakes geopolitical chess match, its future uncertain and its global reputation on the line. President Trump's furious response is immediate and explosive. On social media, he accuses China of economic blackmail, of deliberately targeting American jobs, and vows swift retaliation. His words ignite a firestorm of debate and anxiety across the nation. For Boeing, America's largest exporter and a major source of high-skilled jobs, the crisis is existential. Assembly lines grind to a halt, workers protest looming layoffs, and the company's role as a pillar of the U.S. economy is suddenly in jeopardy, all triggered by the administration's own aggressive trade policies. The U.S.-China relationship, already strained, plunges to its lowest point in decades. Military and economic tensions now collide, raising fears of a broader conflict that could reshape the global order. China's actions are a direct retaliation for recent U.S. tariffs and controversial arms sales to Taiwan. By targeting Boeing, Beijing strikes at the very heart of the American economy, making clear that no industry is safe from the fallout of this escalating rivalry. The financial losses are immediate and massive, with Boeing's stock price in freefall and investors bracing for even deeper shocks in the weeks ahead. But beyond the numbers, the real shock is what this crisis means for America's global standing. Allies and rivals alike watch as U.S. influence appears to wane on the world stage. The once unbreakable Boeing-China relationship, built over decades of cooperation and trust, is shattered in a matter of days by the relentless force of geopolitics. As blame flies and analysts scramble to make sense of the chaos, American families and businesses are left to confront a sobering new reality, one where the foundations of global trade are far shakier, and the future more uncertain than anyone ever imagined. China's move against Boeing is the climax of a year of escalating U.S.-China tensions. What began as a simmering dispute over trade imbalances and intellectual property theft has now erupted into a full-blown economic confrontation, with both sides digging in for a prolonged standoff. President Trump's record tariffs on Chinese goods, up to 145%, sparked a fierce trade war. These tariffs were designed to pressure Beijing into changing its economic practices, but instead, they triggered a tit-for-tat escalation that rippled through global markets and supply chains. China retaliated with 125% tariffs on key U.S. products, including aircraft. American farmers, tech companies, and manufacturers all felt the sting, as China targeted industries at the heart of the U.S. economy. In April, China ordered its airlines to halt all new Boeing purchases, a direct blow to America's top exporter. The move sent shockwaves through the aviation industry, threatening thousands of American jobs and billions in future sales. The message was unmistakable. If the U.S. weaponizes trade, China will weaponize its market. Both sides are now using their economic might as leverage, with ordinary workers and businesses caught in the crossfire. Tensions soared further when the U.S. approved an $11 billion arms sale to Taiwan, infuriating Beijing. The deal was seen as a direct challenge to China's sovereignty claims, adding a dangerous geopolitical edge to the economic conflict. China responded by sanctioning Boeing's military division and other U.S. defense contractors, freezing assets and banning business. These sanctions sent a clear signal that China is willing to strike back at America's most iconic companies. The financial hit to Boeing's defense arm is less than the symbolic damage. The company's reputation as a global powerhouse is now under threat, and investors are growing increasingly nervous. By targeting both commercial and military sides, China showed it's willing to absorb pain to defend its interests. This strategy signals a new era of economic brinkmanship, where both nations are prepared to endure losses for the sake of national pride and strategic advantage. America is left reeling, and Boeing, once untouchable, is now dangerously exposed. The uncertainty has cast a long shadow over the future of U.S. manufacturing and global trade. The trade war's logic has turned on itself, with devastating consequences for both sides. What was meant to be a show of strength has instead revealed deep vulnerabilities in both economies. The world watches as two superpowers weaponize economics in a battle with no clear end. As the standoff drags on, the stakes grow higher, not just for the US and China, but for the entire global economy. Boeing isn't just a company, it's the backbone of American manufacturing, a true titan in the world of aviation. For over a century, Boeing has shaped the way people and goods move across continents, building not only airplanes but also a legacy of innovation and ambition that defines the American spirit. It stands as a symbol of national pride, representing the ingenuity and determination that have propelled the United States to the forefront of global industry. Two-thirds of its commercial revenue comes from international sales, making global trade not just important, but absolutely essential to Boeing's survival and growth. Every jet that takes off for a foreign destination carries with it the hopes of American workers and the promise of economic prosperity. Its vast supply chain supports hundreds of thousands of jobs across all 50 states, from engineers and machinists to small business owners and logistics experts, weaving together a tapestry of American livelihoods. When Boeing wins big orders, the benefits ripple through communities nationwide, boosting local economies and supporting families in towns large and small. That's why Boeing's leadership has long championed free trade, often clashing with the administration's protectionist stance, as they fight to keep international markets open and accessible. China's order halt and sanctions strike at Boeing's very core, threatening not just its bottom line but its ability to compete on the world stage. Losing access to the world's fastest-growing aviation market is a catastrophic blow, one that could reshape the future of American aerospace for years to come. The fallout endangers not just Boeing's workforce, but thousands of suppliers, small businesses, and the broader U.S. economy that depends on the company's success. America's export giant now faces an uncertain future, its vulnerabilities laid bare for all to see, as it navigates a turbulent new era in global trade. China's timing was ruthless. Boeing was already reeling from internal crises. A terrifying 737 MAX incident in 2024 triggered a fleet grounding and intense scrutiny of Boeing's safety culture. Whistleblowers exposed a company prioritizing speed and profit over safety, leading to federal investigations and eroding public trust. A 7-week strike then halted 737 production, deepening backlogs and giving Airbus a clear edge. Boeing's reputation and operations were in chaos when China struck, making the blow even more devastating. The wounded giant became an easy target for Beijing's economic retaliation. Boeing jets were once the crown jewels of President Trump's trade diplomacy. Multi-billion-dollar orders from allies like South Korea, the UK, and Japan were celebrated as proof of America First's success. The White House used Boeing's deals as political trophies, tying the company's fortunes to the president's image. But China's abrupt halt of orders shattered this narrative. The company that symbolized Trump's trade triumphs became the most prominent casualty of his trade war. China's move turned Boeing from a diplomatic prize into a political pawn, exposing the risks of using business as leverage. The administration now scrambles to contain the fallout from a self-inflicted crisis. As Boeing falters, Airbus is seizing the moment. With Boeing locked out of China, Chinese airlines are placing massive new orders with Airbus, deals worth tens of billions. Airbus, already China's top foreign supplier, is now cementing its dominance in the world's fastest-growing market. Years of investment in China are paying off as Airbus positions itself as the stable, reliable partner. The US-China trade war has handed Airbus a golden opportunity to pull ahead. Boeing faces shrinking orders and a battered reputation, while Airbus celebrates a surge in business. The balance of power in global aviation is shifting fast. For every Boeing loss, Airbus gains, redrawing the industry's competitive map. The crisis isn't just about corporations, it's about people. Hundreds of thousands of American workers, especially in Washington and South Carolina, now face deep uncertainty. Boeing's lost Chinese orders mean production cuts, furloughs, and possible layoffs. The pain ripples through a vast supply chain, threatening 1.5 million jobs at over 12,000 U.S. companies. Small businesses that supply Boeing are forced to cut costs and jobs, devastating entire communities. The trade war meant to protect American workers now threatens their livelihoods. For many, the promise of America first rings hollow as pink slips replace paychecks. The economic anxiety is real, and the stakes are personal. The fallout from this crisis will be felt far beyond Boeing's factories. As 2025 ends, the US and China face a stark choice: escalate the conflict or seek a truce. Continued confrontation could freeze out more American giants and destabilize global markets. Diplomatic channels remain open, with high-level visits planned for 2026, a glimmer of hope. Some analysts believe China can't rely solely on Airbus forever, predicting a possible reversal or new trade deal. But for now, Boeing's future, and that of countless American workers, hangs on the fate of US-China relations. The crisis exposes the dangers of weaponized interdependence in a globalized world. The next moves by both nations will shape the global economy and the lives of millions for years to come.